Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Tuesday. It's the 14th day of November 2023. I hope you're all safe and healthy today. I hope your family's safe and healthy and that the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met today. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field who, along with the first responders, are every day saving lives. And those that pick up garbage to keep our streets and sidewalks and cities and towns clean and disease free. And those also that make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover teenagers and children who are the victims of child molestation and pedophilia. The victims also of pornography and child pornography, human trafficking, sex slavery, prostitution, and child prostitution. Double curses on all the perpetrators, all of the profiteers, and all of the perverts that create this heinous industry, finally. Double blessings on the homeless, almost 600,000 men, women, and children. Homeless in the United States of America and millions around the world in similar or worse conditions. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. Okay, so there was a basketball game at TD Garden last night. The Boston Celtics hosted the New York Knicks and beat the New York Knicks 114-98. This is going to be interesting going forward this season. Now, last night, the Knicks just got beat, period, end of story. But there's a story within the story. First of all, they were missing R.J. Barrett. And I think it's now become apparent that R.J. Barrett is an extremely important piece to the New York Knicks. Now that he's developed into what we believed he was going to be, or many of us believed he was going to be, wasn't sure when he was going to get there. But he's finally getting there. And he had migraines. And I had forgotten every year, actually, of his career with the Knicks, since he's come out of Duke, he has missed one or two games with migraines. That's I had forgotten about that, but he does. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar used to have the same problem. He used to miss some games with migraines. There are people that just suffer from migraines on a level that the average person don't deal with. And so he's one of those. So last night he suffered. Hopefully he feels better from a migraines. And so therefore he sat out. Without him, it was difficult. See, the Knicks and Boston are more evenly matched than most people realize, in my view. Jason Tatum, as I talked about yesterday in the preview before the game, he's one of the top 5 players in the world right now. I would say that him and the Joker are probably the 2 best players in the world. Giannis is really obviously there also, but offensively speaking, there's nothing anyone could do with these guys. Okay, they score when they want to. Okay, so the question is, you want to make it more difficult for them to score, and you want to try to limit their touches. So you want to get the ball out of their hands as much as you can. Now, for 3 quarters, the Knicks were doing that. For 3 quarters, the Knicks were really trying to keep it containment. But then the fourth quarter, and Tatum, the thing about Tatum is that it wasn't that nobody was guarding him. He was hitting 3-pointers, falling out of bounds, with people draped all over him. He was hitting and then in between him and Porzingis, they were hitting their threes at the end of the 24-second clock. So the Knicks would hold them for 23 seconds, and then the 24th second, a 3 would go in, and that was killing the Knicks. And when you look at the overall stats, the Knicks were 15 of 35 from 3, and the Celtics were 19 of 43. So the Celtics, shot 4 more threes than the Knicks, but that was the game. It was really that close. And then at the end, the Celtics, because of those clutch threes by those 2 players, they were just pulling away, And then you had other players obviously contributing, but those were the 2 main guys. And with that being the case, with RJ being missing, that's going to make the difference in these 2 teams. So I'm not trying to say the Knicks would have won if they had RJ. We don't know. Can't say what you don't know. But I believe it would have been more competitive. It would have been closer, and if they had R.J. Barrett, and who knows what would have happened. Also, the Celtics are very dependent on Kristaps Porzingis. Now, last night, I found very interesting the matchup between Mitchell Robinson and Kristaps Porzingis. They both played 33 minutes. Mitchell Robinson was, they really did a good job. He only had 3 offensive rebounds last night, 6 rebounds total, 4 points, 2 blocks. He played great defense though. I mean, that of course that doesn't show up in the stat sheet, but it was difficult between him trying to help with Tatum and then guard KP. It was difficult. Okay, so that's how it ends up. The Knicks got beat. Now this is the thing. I don't think KP is going to be available all year. They played him 33 minutes against the Knicks last night. You keep playing Kristaps Porzingis 33 minutes a game and see what happens. Okay, so while I believe they're tough, they're going to be tough, and they are threats to go to the Eastern Conference Finals. To me, Kristaps Porzingis is a weak link long term, and also I think the Knicks are going to be stronger as the year goes on. I always say this every year. See, this is what happens. Here we are. It's November, right? I have a bunch of people telling me we need to fire Tibbs, we need to make a trade, we need to go at the deadline, all kind of stupidness, right? And every year, it happens every year. And then after the 30th game, 20th game, this year I say 20, but usually around the 30th game, the Knicks start turning it around, everybody's tune changes, and then they're on a roll, right? Same thing will happen this year, okay? Tibbs and the Knicks are going to get better as the year goes on. But right now, I feel like they're starting pretty good at 5-5, given all of the issues with Randall, and now you're missing RJ for the first was I think we've missed him now 2 or 3 games. So that's that's the way it is. It's all good. Last night, Tibbs starts Hart. Now I don't agree with starting Hart. I'd rather start IQ, but I totally understand. And Tibbs has explained why he likes Josh Hart. His emphasis is rebounding and defense. That's Tibbs' emphasis first. The first 2 emphasis for him, not necessarily in that order, is rebounding and defense. Okay? And so while Quick brings defense also, he's not the rebounder that Hart is. And Tibbs actually believes that Hart can guard 4 positions, 1 through 4. He doesn't believe that about Quickly. Quickly is an excellent defensive player, and he can guard 1 through 3. But he believes Hart could guard 1 through 4. And then, last night Hart played 43 minutes. He gives Hart a lot of minutes. I don't think that's a wise thing, but he gives Hart a lot of minutes. Hart had 9 boards, okay, and that's what he was out there for. And 16 points. He shot the ball very well. 3 of 6 from 3, 6 of 12 from the field. So that's why he was out there. Quick had a horrible game yesterday. Quick had a horrible game. The Celtics had a lot to do with that. It's not just that Quick wasn't deciding to play. They were keying on him because he is a Celtic killer. And he was 1 for 10 last night. Minus 12, 7 points. He had 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. Wasn't Quick's best game, for sure. Wasn't Quick's best game. DiVincenzo, he wasn't as good either. It wasn't their best game. The bench, I thought the bench needed to come out with about 35 points. Last night, the bench came out with 15 points. And so that's not going to get it done against the Celtics. So the missing of RJ was big last night. So you're missing that 20 points he would provide. You're missing that bench unit. You might have gotten 15 more points out of Hart, from the bench. So it's difficult, but they just lost that game. So now got to move on. It's time for Atlanta. Now we're on a road trip, right? So this is the first game of the road trip. You got Atlanta, you got Washington, you got Charlotte coming up, and then you got Minnesota next Monday. So the next game is in Atlanta. The only thing about it is Atlanta is going to have a back-to-back. So Atlanta plays tonight. I believe they play in Detroit, if I'm not mistaken. I think they play in Detroit. Yes, they play in Detroit tonight, and then they fly back to Atlanta tomorrow night to face the Knicks. The Knicks just coming from Boston last night, so they're going to be in Atlanta, so they'll have a day of rest, whereas Atlanta going to have a back-to-back. Just like last night, the Knicks, that's the second game of a back-to-back last night for the Knicks. Celtics took advantage of that, and that's just the way it is. Everybody's going to have that part in their schedule. See, the Knicks part of the hardest part of their schedule is now. Don't worry. Everybody gets one. Everybody's going to get a rough patch in their schedule, including the Celtics. They ain't got it yet, but they're going to. Everybody is. So this is the Knicks' hard part. Okay, fine. This is where we at. Now, Atlanta has to play a back-to-back against us on Wednesday in Atlanta. So I like our chances there with just those dynamics. Atlanta's starting to come on a little bit, but I like our chance. We'll review that game tomorrow morning. But right now, yeah, the Knicks lost the game. Move on. Game 10. Let's go to game 11. Let's keep developing, okay? Like I said, they need about 20 games to get it going. I'm not worried about the Knicks. It'll be all right. RJ will be all right as long as Randall will be all right. Randall was typical Randall last night. Didn't shoot the ball particularly well. 7 of 19. He was 2 of 8 from 3, 9 of 11 from the free throw line, 9 rebounds. Got 25, 9, and 5. That's typical Randall. 3 turnovers, typical Randall. And then Brunson, 10 of 21, 3 of 7 from the field, 3 of 5 from the line. That's not typical Brunson. He's usually much more accurate there. And 26 points. Grimes, Grimes is basically your spot. Grimes is Hauser. See, Hauser for Celtics is Grimes for the Knicks. And Hauser's out there to shoot threes, and he was 4 of 6. Okay, he scored 12 points. And Grimes was out there to shoot threes. He was 4 of 6. And he scored 12 points. The only difference is Grimes is not just out there to shoot threes. He's out there to defend the other team's toughest player. He was on Tatum last night a lot. He was on Brown a lot. Tough matchup for the kid. But hey, it is what it is. Like I said, Tatum is one of those guys, man. You really can't. You can't do nothing with him. When he wants to score, he's going to score. Okay? Question is, like I said, can you get the ball out of his hands? Can you make the shots difficult? And the Knicks were doing that, for the most part. He had a couple of times where he sliced through the Knicks defense like they wasn't there, but that's Jason Tatum. That's what he does. And so one dribble from the top of the key, and he's at the basket. Okay, so that's how he is. So that's a tough matchup, man. But hey, it's what it is. Learning experience for the Knicks, learning experience for the kid. We move on. Time to get down to Atlanta and see what we can do against the ATL. Don't worry about this Knicks Nation. We'll be all right. Y'all enjoy it Tuesday. Shalom.